the fist goes up. The hometown crowd begins to cheer the final turn, and to the checkers, Grant Baylor takes the Big Buck GNCC.
Did you see Stu Baylor running through the final turn of that week, brother? Absolutely unbelievable. Congratulations to that young man, to that new team, to that manufacturer, to everybody involved. You see the girlfriend giving him a hug. That is an emotional Grant Baylor.
I've got goosebumps right now.
I've been ready all day. There you go. Make some noise. Cheers. Yeah, that's how you do it. Let the man come in. You guys make some noise for Grant. Here we go. Popping bottles here at the GNCC. Big congratulations again to Grant Baylor. You had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Thanks for making me a part.
GNCC Racing Nation, so I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds.
Out front, your top three. All out of the 4x4 Pro class. Cody first, Robbie Beck second, and Wolf third. Hannah Hunter in fourth place overall for the WNCC. Going to be a fun one to watch. I'm telling you right now, keep your eyes on these 4x4 Pro guys as the season progresses. We've seen some previews, some glimpses into what the battle could be between Cody Collier and Landon Wolf. And Cody Collier today comes out and absolutely makes a statement with a a convincing win. Ends up taking it by 53.5 seconds.
We'll make the best of it and come back. Come back, man.
Baby, there you go. Popping bottles here at the GNCC Good Cup.
Cooped up all winter long. It's been rainy all week long. It's been cold. It's beautiful out today. Second, and row number one, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at the BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. All balls, hot cams, whole shot award up for grabs, and that one's going to belong to Wesley Wolf, the 741, and off his quad in turn two, the number 2 of Bryson Neal. To the final chicanes, it is the Bidwell Bullet. Final couple turns, Bryson Neal into the final turn, checkers fly, and Bryson Neal takes round number 1 win here at the BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC.
Hunter Hartwell said, "Can I pop champagne?" Absolutely. Hit you so. Got him. Y'all didn't expect that.
Popping bottles here at the GNCC. Congratulations to Bryson Neal taking the win to start the 2021 season. Woo. For the last 6 seasons, we've seen Walker Fowler capture the national championship at the GNCC. But in the offseason, it was hard to ignore the talk surrounding Bryson Neal. Was the hype real? Well, after round number 1, Bryson Neal takes the checkered flag and the win at Big Buck GNCC. Can he repeat? Or will Walker Fowler return center of the box in the sands of Florida? GNCC on Racer TV, coming up next.
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 2 of the Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. We're here in the sands of Florida, Palatka, Florida, for the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. Well, talk about setting the bar high. Round number 1, we saw a little bit of everything. The highly anticipated battle of Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal, as they both went down in the second turn of round number 1 at Big Buck. They had their work cut out for them, had to work their way to the front of the pack, where Bryson Neal took the win and the reverse plate heading into today. Can he repeat that performance in round 1 here today? Or will Walker Fowler find himself center of box after battling the sands and palmettos of Florida? Another big name out there finally looking like he's getting it dialed, Hunter Hart, finishing 3rd in round number 1. It's now the time for Hunter Hart to become a podium regular like we've expected to see out of him the last couple of seasons. And then, of course, the XC2. Wyatt Wilkin setting the bar high in round number 1, looking to repeat here today. For Ben Kavaleski finishing 2nd and Max Lindquist finishing 3rd, look to take that top spot. Well, the stage is set. Who's going to do it here in the sands of Florida? Before we get to it, let's take it down to Jared Bolton with a Yamaha Racing track description.
Thanks, guys, and welcome back to sunny Florida. Nah, hold on, I don't like that. Thanks, guys. Once again, GNCC returns to the Sunshine State for the Wild Boar GNCC. The thing about Florida is when you come down here, you're going to be dealing with sand, and sand gets really, really rough as the weekend wears on. And the other thing about Florida is you're going to have a little bit of mud as well. However, even with some rains leading up to this event, this place has actually been pretty dry, but not overly dry, which puts a unique spin on it. The sand's actually packed in a little tighter than it has been in the past, which actually won't let things get quite as rough as it has been before. But of course, you still got some of the mud holes to contend with out here in the field as well. Pick your way around those the right way and you won't have any trouble, as long as you follow the arrows. If you try to get too far off the course, some of those water holes are probably, I'd say about that deep. So you got to be really smart when you get out in there. The rest of the course, it's good flowy trail here. Some tight spots, some really, really fast stuff. Beautiful, beautiful facility here at Wild Boar. Make for some great racing. Back to you guys.
Well, thanks, Jared. Appreciate that. Looks like it's going to be a gnarly track out there today for the riders. We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll be down on the starting line with Rodney Tomlin and those iconic 10-second calls.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do, but who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Our racers, we have informed our racers there's one more order of business before the green flag flies, and that is remove the meat. That's right, our Monster Energy Activation Transport making its way off the starting line right now as we ready ourselves for the start of this second round of America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship, the 2021 GNCC Series, presented by Specialized E-Turbo Bikes and AMA National Championship. 14 pro riders in the XC1 Pro class strewn out across this front row as they are all working not only for the early lead, but the possibility of an extra $250 in their hunt for the whole shot and the early lead. The whole shot award from Wiseco and All Balls and Hot Cams, bringing us an extra $250 for our pro rider that crosses this strike going into the second turn first. As all eyes now down on Ricky Towery as he gets set to inform these riders 1 minute before the start of today's Wild Boar GNCC. So last few moments of rituals underway here at the home waller as Ricky Towery makes his way out into that first turn region. And he will begin his conductor duties, if you will, to orchestrate our starts of GNCC racing. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask you, race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? That's pretty good, Florida, but we're kicking off Bike Week, so let's do a little better than that. Let's try it one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number one, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. Well, we got a false start. I don't know. That may have been Bryson Neal. If that's the case, he's going to be back a little. The early lead going to the young one, Hunter Hart, aboard the number 7 out of Newfield, New York, on the Hunter Hart Racing Maxxis flyback machine. So there will be a penalty enforced. The number 2, Bryson Neal, going to be held up 15 seconds, I believe, at the finish line as we go to the XC2 Pro-Am class. Nick Davis and Trey Seifert, Charles Dunn, 10 seconds. Grayson Eller, Christian Meyer, Bryce Barnett, also Brandon Owens, Kenny Schick, Nick Royalty, Albert Jadish, Ben Kowalewski, TJ Barrett, White Wilkin, Dylan Walraven, Ronnie Rush, and Tanner Walker. So, 228. So as we go to our next start, it's a senior 840 plus class. Ricky Towery shuts them down. We got, looks like 8 riders in this one, ready to roll in 10 seconds. Brian Axline, Shane Worth, Angel Barrios, also Mike Wise, Nick Lembruno, Chris Conklin, Chris Berry, and Brian Shaw. The 828, Brian from Harrisville, Pennsylvania, grabbing the early lead. College A, 16-21, coming up next. 10 seconds. Davis Brinson, Nathan Dearborn, Dalton Keys, Trey Redmond, Ethan Meyer, Evan Barrett, Tyler Valentine, Dominic Stevens, Keaton Henderson, Wes Edwards, Tyler Coulter, Alex Lyman, Chase Allison, Gavin Jenkins, Cody Forrester, Cordy Van DeLiner, Caden Ryan, Cameron Avey, Steve Harrell, and James Galata. College A rounding the first turn. And it's going to be the 123 of Dalton Keys from Holton, Indiana, grabbing the early lead in this one as we go to the junior A 22 plus class. Ricky Towery getting set to orchestrate this next start with Caleb Edwards, Brody Livingood, Chris Leak, Alan Blavos, Jeremy Ladon. 10 seconds. Cody Benton, Mick Rice, Alex Alioff, Brad Endoel, Mitchell Etterblut, Brendan Young, Jay Shadron, Bryson Mullahan, Brady Myers, Joseph Ponte, Colton Kendall, Devin Manicotti, Dustin West, Cameron Queen, and Zach Wright rounding the first turn now as they sort it out. The 412 of Jay Shadron from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania to B&R Motorsports Group. Access Banks ride. The Bet 30 plus class coming up next. Jeff Pickens, Big Papa P, Brad Whitehead, also Dirk DeCesar, Luke Reese, Christopher Kirby, Silsby. 10. Zachary Phillips, Michael Lancaster, and A.J. Kuntz. Big Papa P. Jeff Pickens in and out of that first turn. See if he can hang on to it. No! It's going to be the 29, Brad Whitehead. Brad Whitehead steals the early lead at the pole shot from Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania on an ECS Honda JMR and Maxxis backed machine to the Senior B 40 plus class in 10 seconds. Scott Wilhelm, Steve Barber, Jason Limley, Ivo Pahalik, Christopher Butler, Bobby McCauley, Dave Ashby, Wesley Smith, Robert Bennett, Robert Stevens, Richie McCauley, and Rick Marino. .179, Jason Limley from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Of High Point, the Mason-Dixon GNCC as we roll into the College B, 16 to 21-year-olds. Jason Fleming, Alex Nelson, Paxton Dickerson, Seth Blake, Grant Miller, Cade Alexo, Kai Arbogast. Also Damon Greishop, Bryson Harper, Tyler Davis. 10 seconds. Lane Felder, Riley Salick, Cooper Stewart, John Williams, Ian Burns, Blake Vale. Also Jonathan Figley, Hunter Godsey, Chance Hickey, Michael Worth, and Mason Howard. Oh, getting it all sorted out there. Wow, look at that. What a first turn for the 50. Comes out Jason with about 5 feet and is able to steal the early lead out of Street, Maryland on board that Honda. Junior B 22 plus class coming up next as Ricky Towery readies our riders and lets them know 10 seconds. Corey Pancake, Sean Newhouse, Cody Bowles, Javier Collin, Robbie Rosenberger, Stephen Hannum, also Shane McMillan, Matt No, Ethan Heilberg, Dalton Lee, and Nicholas Blaney. .425, Ethan Helbig. Ethan Helbig from Freedom, Pennsylvania, taking the early lead as we go to the Vet B30 plus class coming up next in a matter of Ricky Towery tells these riders it's only going to be 10 seconds. David Kite, Nathan Tickle, Ryan Simmons, also Tim White, Keith Stewart, Michael Rodriguez, Ben Dunlap, Benjamin Jones, Nick Miller, David Nicely, Mike Reiser, Nicholas Kazmarski, Ryan Lecroni, Kenneth Rich, and also Adam Garrick. .424, Nick Miller from Bristolville, Ohio on a B&R Motorsports Motozilla GBC back machine, and that's your final start. Off and rolling, and that is it for this afternoon as we have nearly a record-breaking turnout, I think, for our ATV riders here this weekend with our micros, our youth, and our amateur riders, and now these afternoon riders with the Pro-Am, and of course, A and B riders. A big, big weekend as we kick off Bike Week 2021. Glad to have you folks here on RacerTV.com. Stick around. Mikey Waynes will be with you here in just a few moments to give you the call-by and play-by-play, and we'll be up there as well. GNCC Racing continues right after this.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do. But who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated. A company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Chematic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Chematic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Chematic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Chematic. Chematic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We changed the industry by formulating the first API-qualified 100% synthetic motor oil. The rest of the market has been trying to follow our lead ever since. But a head start is a head start. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond. Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races, I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
Hi, my name is Andrea Lieb, the director of On Track School. How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that. Because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
Monster Energy AMA Supercross in FIM World Championship.
22 riders in the starting gate believe I will be champion.
Be there to see who wins the round at Atlanta Motor Speedway April 10th, 13th, and 17th. Visit supercrosslive.com to get your tickets today.
Welcome back to GNCC Live. I'm Mikey Waynes, along with Rodney Tallman, who you have already heard from. And take a look at that. There is your XC1 off and rolling. How about the start for Hunter Hart? Are you kidding me? Hunter Hart actually snagged the whole shot in second as he headed out, and you saw them on screen there. Looks like Hunter Hart still in control of this one with Walker Fowler on his heels. So keep in mind, if you're just tuning in with us, Bryson Neal off the start, from what we heard unofficially, had a jump on the start, false start, will be held up at the finish line. I believe it will be a 15-second penalty for him at the end of lap 1. So keep that on the back burner. And speaking of those starts, I think we're going to take a look at a replay for our XC1 and XC2 starts here if you're just tuning in with us. Specialized rapid replay. Ricky Towery, the waving of the flag, off and rolling here in Florida. Jockeying for position was the XC1, and there he is, the number 7. Look over the shoulder. Hunter Hart's probably thinking, I can't believe I just got that. I got to stay right here as long as I can and hold off that guy right there, Walker Fowler. Going to be a tough task to do for 2 hours. Hunter coming off the 3rd place finish a couple weeks ago. And then the XC2 class, jockeying for position. Try that again. I don't know if that was just my TV. It's on loop. There we go. The start of the XC2. There we go. Big congratulations, XC2 Whole Shot Award winner. I believe it was Nick Davidson snagging the whole shot out of the XC2 class and getting a little wide right there, but certainly a good start for him, off and rolling and coming out of that XC2. A couple weeks ago in round number 1, it was Wyatt Wilkin grabbing the win. Ben Kavaleski finishing 2nd, and Matt Lindquist finishing 3rd just a couple weeks ago. So XC2, another one we'll keep our eye on. But again, 2021, without a doubt, a highly anticipated season. And before we dive into it, I believe we're going to look there we go, the Yamaha Racing track map. Of course, what is highlighted in, depending on how your screen looks, probably orange. It's orange on my screen, or yellow. That's, I believe, our 1 p.m. bike-only section for tomorrow. So as you look at the rest of the track, Palatka, Florida, some love it, some hate it. We enjoy it. I think everybody's enjoyed it so far. What can you guys expect? Well, you heard Jared Bolton talking about it. Obviously, the sand, it's a different kind of sand than anything we see the rest of the year, like at Camp Coker, for example. But it seems like there's no bottom in this place. And when you get there, then you got to deal with the palmetto roots. It's gnarly, to say the least. Had some pretty crazy battles this morning. A lot of spots. Looks like there's a little water. Maybe you want to risk it, move up a position. Maybe you fall in a hole. Like there's just a lot of gambling out there. So it's definitely a fun one. You hear a lot of the riders talking about, man, this is a race of survival. I want to go out there and survive. And a guy who did well here last year, taking the win here last year actually, was Walker Fowler. He's coming off the second-place finish. And before today's race, we actually had a chance to catch up with Walker Fowler and get his insights after round number 1.
Yeah, so we're down here in Palatka, Florida at the Wild Boar GNCC. We've had 6 rounds here in the past, and I've won all 6 of them. So hopefully 2021 will be our 7th win. Even up the points, hopefully, because you know Bryson, if he's not winning, he's probably going to be number 2. So our goal out here is try to just, like I said, break even, get this points back to 0, and yeah, just start trying to build some momentum. So I've won the first round since 2015. I've won, obviously, every year since then. So last race was a kind of new territory for me, but it's kind of given me the underdog drive again. I've always kind of been on top. So it's not new territory for me, but it's unfamiliar. So I kind of, I spent a week or 2, or obviously 2 weeks now, and kind of just got my mind right, got the bike feeling a little better, got some training, up my training, and I'm hungry. I'm hungry, I'm ready, and coming into round 1, there was a lot of uncertainties, whether, the injuries were going to be a major setback, or whether, concussion-wise, I was where I needed to be. Usually we get to do a lot of riding and training. I did get to ride a lot, but we didn't really get to do any races. So I kind of was lining up rusty and blind, and that showed. Struggled for a little bit, but, yeah, at the end, at the last race, I felt really good, put in a good charge, and got that minute lead down to 5 seconds. So hopefully get a good start today and go out there and do what I do.
Get a good start. That's what I took away from that. Also, Walker Fowler talking about being an underdog. Now, when was the last time? It's had to have been more than 6 years that we have talked about Walker Fowler, in his own words, underdog. So certainly it was hard to ignore the anticipation heading into this season. The rising of Bryson Neal was 6 championships it for Walker Fowler. Is it Neal's time? Well, after round 1, we're just continuing those talks. Bryson Neal, obviously your points leader heading into this weekend. He had a fast start, Bryson Neal. As a matter of fact, a little too fast of a start. If you heard us talking earlier, he will be, from what we understand, that's unofficial, but we believe he'll be held up at the finish line for a 15-second penalty. Now, that is official. Okay, so producer Adam Gordon just chimed in and said that is official. He will be held up. It'll be a 15-second penalty assessed. So what that means, when Bryson Neal checks into the finish line, we'll have one of our officials down there. They've got the stopwatch. Turn it on. Once the 15 seconds is up, he can go out there and rip and roll. But if we learned anything from round 1, yes, a good start's important. We just heard Walker Fowler talking about it, but that doesn't make or break the race necessarily. Walker and Bryson both went down early. I think it was turn 2 a couple weeks ago. They went down, ended up working their way up to the front. Bryson obviously took that win, and Walker finished second. And another guy we've talked a little bit about is Hunter Hart. He comes into this season, we've kind of looked to see Hunter Hart move into being a podium regular contender, and it's just not really come to fruition. He does have a win in the XC1 at Ironman a few years ago, but this seems to be the year maybe that we're going to be talking about Hunter Hart a lot more. He finished 3rd a couple weeks ago at the Big Buck GNCC. He took the whole shot in the XC1 here today. You saw him with the look over the shoulder at Walker Fowler. I don't know what he's thinking. Is he thinking, I can't believe I'm out in front of these guys right now, I got to hang on to this? Is he thinking, who knows? We'll find out after the race. But bottom line is Hunter Hart off to a fantastic start. The number 7 machine. Can he hang on to it, though? It's a long 2 hours. And being out in front, that's not something for the XC1 class that Hunter Hart has had a lot of experience doing. So he can't key off of anybody. He can't watch the lines Walker is taking or Bryson is taking. It's all on him right now. So look to see maybe Walker Fowler move up into that number 1 spot, but maybe Hunter Hart makes a liar out of us and he just leads this thing start to finish. We'll see.
It's a long race, but certainly going to be a good one. Get a good look right there at some of the conditions that these riders have to deal with. And if you've seen some of the photographs from this morning, if anybody's able to post on social media, it's like a cellular service ghost town out here. But a few folks do. I'm not one of those. But Ken Hill showed me a few shots of some guys that really dealing with some stuff. And Rodney Tomlin making his way back into the box here. Rodney, you want this one? I can flip-flop with you.
Oh, man, they're warm. They're nice and warm, big boy. They're a little big.
I got you.
A little big for my head, big boy.
Yeah, I know. So leaders on screen right there, and it looks like Walker Fowler has made the pass around Hunter Hart, which, Rodney, that's what I was just talking about. For a guy like Hunter, not taking anything away from him, but that's a lot of pressure for Hunter Hart to lead from the start and go through lap number 1, which I believe they're getting into the finish line here, so they'll clock in. But now, Hunter, if I'm Hunter Hart, I still feel good right now. Walker Fowler's in my sights as they head back into the Pines here in Florida, and you hope you can just throw a lasso on them and hang with them.
Bryson Neal checking in at the number 3 spot. One thing to point out, I don't know if you noticed, there was a false start on the start line, so they will hold him up, I believe, 15 seconds.
Yep, right there. You can see him.
He turned his bike off. I mean, it wasn't as if he was trying to, I don't know what happened. It was almost as soon as the 10-second call had completed, I said 10 seconds, and he fired up his machine, and you could, and it just kept running, and he finally got it turned off, and he was one of the last. I mean, he was late off the line too. So to see him up the 3rd place, I'm not sure how many positions he may have lost there. Probably back to about 10th place, I believe. Merritt got by, Richardson got by. Jared McClure with 6th will put him up into 5th. Now Chris Borich up into 6th from 7th. Adam McGill, Devin Feehan, and John Glada, I believe, all getting by. Feehan and Glada may not have gotten by, so we might see Bryson only back to an 8th place position. One thing that I want to point out, Mikey, look how dark the soils are where these riders are racing this year, and that indicates a lot of moisture in this sand here at Hogwaller. Something that we haven't really seen a lot of the last couple of years. This is a mud bog facility, and we've been fortunate enough the last few races that we've been here that there hasn't been a whole lot of water, but we noticed that there are more water in the ditches, the little puddles and wallers, I guess you could say. They've got water, and we've got mud on the course a little more so than what we've had in the last recent years. But wow, drone coverage right now. Wesley, we got a new drone pilot this week. He's first time doing GNCC, so he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah, he's doing a heck of a job.
He's a commercial airline pilot, from what I understand,
there
too.
You go.
So.
He's qualified then.
But wow, great. Even with the pine needles on the trees, we're still able to see a lot of the racing action below on our Yamaha Racing live drone. So glad to have that, and glad to have Wesley on board with us. Look at Walker Fowler.
That's what I was going to say. Walker inching toward the top of the screen, and no signs of Hunter Hart. Hunter's got to turn it on right now. Walker, obvious. Well, we had a brief interview with him prior to you getting in here, Rodney, but he talked about himself in his own words. I kind of have an underdog feeling. That's not something I've felt in a while. So I think Walker is here to play right now, and he's going to lay it all out there.
Well, after round 1, there was a certain tone in his voice. Obviously, very respectful of Bryson Neal's accomplishments and what he was able to do, admitting that he'd gotten beat that day.
Yeah, goodness.
Wow. But here's the thing. I knew that there's Hunter Hart right there. We see him a few seconds behind. But the one thing that I knew, I could tell in Walker's voice, there was a tone that was there, that there was frustration. There was, I can't let this happen again type tone in his voice. So people kept asking me what's going to happen. Man, Bryson Neal's he's on the hammer. He's going to be hard to beat. And I said, yeah, guys. I said, you don't understand. Walker is going to be a beast. And I said, here's the thing, and this is my scenario. And I'm not going to. I say if he gets the opportunity, he is going to demolish the crowd. I said, if he can get out front and get a lead, he's just going to go as hard as he can. And if anybody can catch up with him and hold with him, it's going to be tough to do. Even as fast as Bryson Neal is, you'd have to think from Bryson Neal's standpoint, okay, let Walker go out here. Let Walker make this statement. I'll take the second place position. We're still tied in points. Let's let the hammer down again in Georgia in a week. And, so, I mean, right now, Bryson Neal, to be in control of this championship after the first round of racing, he's got to really be thinking about this to maintain that kind of control and and be in the hunt for the title. So he's going to have to start thinking like that. Even if he can't keep the pace of Walker today, he can't ride over his head and push too many mistakes and make it a worse day than what it is if he.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And
it
looked like Hunter's starting to reel him in just a little bit, and I think Hunter. In some of those tight sections, and probably as he's going down pro row, everybody's saying, come on, man, you're right there. He's right there. But, boy, hats off to Hunter Hart. How about the start for him? A guy that over the last couple of years, we've talked about Hunter Hart. When is he going to turn it on? When is Hunter Hart going to be that regular podium guy? Coming off that third place, and now right on the, I'm not going to say heels, but he's right there with Walker Fowler. Hunter Hart's got to feel really good right now, and you got to feel good if you're a Hunter Hart fan.
No doubt, and one thing to point out about Hunter, in last week and when we were doing openings and studying things like that, I mentioned Hunter.
There's no speed there. Oh, and Hunter gets a little hung up right there, as did Walker.
But, the one thing that I was pointing out, it's make or break time basically right now for Hunter Hart. And this is the season that, I expect to be his breakout season.
Going to the pass!
Oh, and look at that. Walker didn't even try to stop it. I think Walker's like, I'll let you lead through here, buddy.
Yeah.
You find the deep holes. But regardless of what the case may be, this is what Hunter Hart needs. And to see something like this underway for Hunter Hart. Oh, and look at this, Hart getting stuck. And that was a good move by Walker Fowler. See, he was able to get through there, traverse that a little easier. But, wow. I mean, these guys have got to be second guess. They cannot see the bottom. They do not know how deep this water is. It's black water. It could be an inch deep. It could be a foot deep. It could be 3 feet deep. They don't know.
Then there goes Walker.
Yeah.
that was a veteran move if I've ever seen one. Walker knew what they were coming into, and so did Hunter. Hunter's thinking, I don't want to go first. Walker's like, well, I'm not going first. So you go through there. I want to see if you get stuck, and then we'll race out here in the open section.
Well, as I was saying, this is what, and Hunter put on a good performance at round number 1, taking that third place position. I think he was even in the lead at one point during that race, if memory serves me correct. So Hunter this is where Hunter needs to be for 2021, and this might be the switch flipping for Hunter that we've been waiting for since those youth and amateur ranks and coming up into the Pro-Am class because he was so dominant then. Now we're starting to see what the Hunter Hart is capable of. Look at this battle back here for the third place position that's starting to shape up right now. I believe that's Richardson and Merritt going at it right now. Cole Richardson in the number 3 position now. Josh Merritt moving up the 4th as they both got around Bryson Neal after that little bit of a petty false start on the starting line.
Yeah, I believe it's still Walker and Hunter right here. Yeah.
I thought we dropped back, but there is a good race going on if we can find that one. And that one's only probably about 10-15 seconds back of these guys. But Richardson, Merritt, Jared McClure. Well, McClure's a little off the pace back there, but Richardson and Merritt really having a good one going.
Cole Richardson's a guy I think you got to have your eyes on today. I think finished, 6th, I believe, in round number 1. But we know Cole, and we know that he feels he is a championship contender as well. He feels like he should be mentioned right there with Walker and Bryson, and the results are certainly there, not necessarily in round 1. So I look for Cole Richardson to really be pushing for a podium finish here today.
Well, I'll tell you what, you wonder about the intensity of the XC1 Pro class on this first lap. Generally, we see the XC2 deep into the top 10 at the end of lap 1. 14th place for your top XC2 Pro-Am rider right now, 447. Halstead, Pennsylvania's Ben Kowalewski is your leader in that class at 14th place overall. So that right there with the pace that we're seeing out of Walker and Hunter up front right now, we can see that they are really putting some time on the track out there and making some fast lap times out there. Wow, look at that sand. I was talking with Jared Bolton, and I want you to take a look at this sand. He said the last guy that he had to follow through off the thing, they were going through, and he just made this motion, which is basically up, down, rollers. I guess it's really whooped out in some of the areas of the racetrack out there, and Bolton didn't even have the breath or the energy to participate into course description, just to let you know how taxing,
exhausting
it is, and how much strength it takes out of man and machine to ride these conditions. And we're talking about a guy that makes more laps in a GNCC than anybody, basically,
That's
these
true.
days.
I know how they feel. I know how it feels to walk on the beach, and I get exhausted from that. I'm sure it's the exact same thing. Exactly same thing.
Exactly. Well, Walker, Fowler, Hunter Hart, Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, Josh Merritt were your top 5. As we said, Bryson Neal, the false start, got it started. I think they held him up. I think, and I didn't hear the official word, but normally that's a 15-second penalty because it's off and he got it shut down, and so 15. But that's a lot. Whenever you take into consideration, he was right behind those guys. He was 6 seconds behind Fowler and Hart. And say they only penalize seconds. That's now 21, and you would say it's going to take a half second or a second longer to get started and back up to speed. So you're looking at 22, 23 seconds that he was at the deficit from the first and second place rides whenever he left that tent after that penalty. In the meantime, he lost positions to Cole Richardson, Josh Merritt. Jared McClure was another 12 seconds back. That would have been a close one. So McClure and Neal actually getting back on the track about the same time, if that was a 15-second penalty.
I believe it was. Kerry Joe actually came in here to give us some confirmation on
Awesome.
it, and I think that's dead on, the 15-second. I believe if they get going, I believe it's, 30 seconds? Yeah.
And
so,
depending on, I mean, it can be more, but generally 15 and 30 seconds is what the penalties are.
There he is, Walker back on screen, out in front.
Yep, and guess what? I wonder what songs he thinks about whenever he's riding out there. I mean, there's got to be a lot going through this guy's mind. You know what? Here's what I'm thinking. He's thinking, I'm going to destroy these guys.
Yeah, I need to go out there. I need a statement race. I gotta shut people up. I gotta shut my own mind up. It would be my guess.
Right, and let's reflect back to about round 8, I think it was last year, maybe 7. Remember we were talking about, Walker was talking about that 2-minute time period that he was wanting to best the rest of the field by. And then 1 minute, 59 seconds, .615, I think it was, that Bryson came in just under the 2-minute mark on Walker. And that's about...
Went Bryson Neal right there.
All right, and was that Richardson behind him right there? Is Neal back up to the number 3 spot, or was that Merritt that was behind him right there? That was Merritt?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, interesting. I think the way the stories all break down, the way, backstories, the front stories. McGill, man, I like that green quad he's running out there. And he put Kimco as his brand name out there. I think he's really riding a Honda.
Yes.
But just mess with me and different people. He puts Kimco out there. So
Adam McGill aboard the Kimco.
He's getting those contingencies, I guess.
There you go.
So rolling through this one, let's take a look at that XC2 Pro-Am class just a little bit. We talked about Kowalewski leading this one. You know, this is we haven't really had a chance to talk a whole lot about XC2 in this 2021 season. A lot of guys moving up. One of the riders moving out, and I think he's just going to be racing AMA Pro 8 or AMA ATV racing in a Pro Stock class, and it's going to be Noah Mickelson. Let's see, who else do we have out of this one? I'm trying to think. There's a couple of guys that we're not seeing in this one this year that we kind of expected to see, but a lot of the guys graduated to the XC1, or a couple of the guys did, including Drew Landers and, of course, Austin Abney. But it's kind of opened the field up in this XC2 Pro-Am class. Ben Kowalewski, a name that we rarely ever mentioned before, now leading this one. Mikey, and he's got nearly a 10-second lead. We're getting reports on the radio right now that Hunter Hart has regained the lead at the FMF PowerPoint on Walker Fowler. Now, the last time we saw him on the Yamaha Live drone there, man, it looked like Walker was starting to open that gap back up over, so you have to wonder, did he run into more trouble out there? Did he make a mistake? Or did Hunter really find an extra gear out there?
that or did Walker pull another veteran move on him and say, no, you do this FMF PowerPoint first. I want to see how you course this terrain, and then I'll do what you don't do.
I mean, can you imagine, rolling into that water section that those guys rolled in, the black water over there, what that would have been like? I mean, if you're out front and you know your mind's got to go, oh, gosh, what way am I going to go?
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you didn't walk it. Especially if you don't know how many people have gone through it and wallered it out since the last time you did walk through it. I'm assuming that is a pro-only section for those guys.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was rather shallow for the most part, but I expect that it's going to get deeper. And tomorrow, don't be surprised to see some of those guys getting buried on the
Oh, for sure. I know just Ken Hill showed us a few photographs this morning from the Pro 4x4 race, and I can't remember the rider for the life of me, but one of our Pro 4x4 guys, the machine was pretty much buried. You could see just the top of the plastics and the handlebars. That was it. So there are some major deep spots out there that you could very well possibly just end up becoming a part of the racetrack.
And I'll say this, I mean, I think the characteristics of this racetrack are different probably than any time that we've been here in the past. I mean, we've had moisture in the soil. I don't recognize or remember anyway the days that we've had rain, like on the days of and leading into and like the morning of and through the overnight hours. But this one we did. So the soil's just a little bit different. As we watch this one, as we said, our XC2 Pro-Am, Kyle Lusky, Tanner Walker, Wyatt Wilkin, Kenny Schick, and Brandon Owens, your top 5 in that one. Overall, in the XC1 Pro class, last check, it was Hunter Hart, according to radio reports, out front of Walker Fowler. Bryson Neal running in the number 3 spot. Cole Richardson in 4th, and Josh Merritt in 5th. That could be changed up a little bit, but we'll sort it out. We'll know more when we return. And the big question is, will Walker Fowler unleash the demolition on the GNCC XC1? Stick around to find out.
Manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do. But who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We changed the industry by formulating the first API-qualified 100% synthetic motor oil. The rest of the market has been trying to follow our lead ever since. But a head start is a head start. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond. Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. you know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a, you know, a good race here or, you know, a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency and my recovery.
My name is Jerry Holcomb. I've been an AMSOIL dealer now for 18 years. I'm a retired Air Force member, a retired federal employee, and now I just sell AMSOIL products full time. I've been involved 18 years. I got involved in it because I had a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and from there I progressed on up into the other different lines. Here at the GNCC, we're supporting the racers, and AMSOIL has always been a strong sponsor, supporter of racing. And the different products that we have for racing, is the one that really dominates is our Dominator. This has been a product that's been around for a long time, and it's a favorite of the racers. And they can really tell the difference in their performance and how long they can go before they have to actually tear back into the motor and do some repairs. The last few years, we've come out with some new products for the racing. Our 10W40 for the dirt bikes, and also our 10W50 for the dirt bikes. Previously, the racers would run our 10W40 that we normally would have in our Hondas and Yamahas that's on the road. Another thing they've come out with in the last few years is a product called Mud Slingers. Now this is one that repels the dirt and the mud, that helps it keep it from building up on the fenders and on the engine and stuff. We also have a racing grease that's real popular. So AMSOIL has really put a lot of money and time into the racing circuit, even though our bread and butter is still our Signature Series that we have for cars and trucks. Our Signature Series has been proven and tested that we can go 25,000 miles or once a year oil changes. And we also have an XL line series that's 12,000 miles or once a year. AMSOIL's been around since 1972, and they have proven that you can go 1 year, 25,000 miles, on regular usage of driving your vehicle. Now, if you're doing a lot of heavy towing or running through a lot of mud and dirt, of course you would change your oil more often. But for the average citizen, they don't do all that. Most truck drivers are hauling air, so they can usually go 25,000 miles or once a year. And that's where AMSOIL really has proven their point on how good synthetic motor oil is.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I know AMSOIL claims heavy towing and things like that, and it will, and it'll break your oils down. But I do a lot of towing, and I check my oils and stuff, and I use AMSOIL. I still get 25,000+ miles out of mine and a year of service out of mine. So AMSOIL, a great product. I stand behind it, no doubt about it. Walker Fowler continuing to lead as we pick the action back up here at the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes and even old Ryan Amancio, our own GNCC Fast Brats, in studio with us again today as we check the action out. If you're just joining us, Walker Fowler is trying to make a statement here after that first round, that opening round loss to Bryson Neal. Bryson Neal false started on the starting line, was held back about 15 seconds, a 15-second penalty after the first lap, so he lost a couple of positions, 2 or 3 positions there. As we're seeing on the start grid, what you're seeing on the results board right now, the leaderboard, that is a little different right now, and it is going to change. Last report we had, Hunter Hart had gotten around Walker Fowler at the FMF PowerPoint. We should be seeing our leaders on screen here pretty soon, so we'll be able to get a better idea of what's going on. But again, looking at these soils, how dark the sand is, it's usually such a much lighter color sand.
I feel like the only time I've seen terrain that looks like this at a GNCC is probably at some point in the ever-changing mulch pit at John Penton. Like, I mean, it just looks like one big John Penton mulch pit out there.
Well, that goes to show you, I mean, this dirt right here, there's a lot of sand in it, and somebody was talking to me about it. We were on the start, and this is located in the start. They said, is the sand like this all over the property? And I said, no. Actually, there's a couple different variations of the sand. You've got this loamy, silty, and I guess clay-based black dirt sand that we've got here, but there's also some areas of white sugar sand and things like that out in different areas of the racetrack. And as you take a look,
there's a good example.
There's a prime example of the different kinds of sands. Now this sand's a little wetter, obviously, because this is where some of the wallers are, where the four-wheel drives and the UTVs and side-by-sides and stuff do their mud runs and things of that nature. But nonetheless, I mean, again, you can see the difference color. And you can see even side-by-side, you've got a red, white sand, and then 50 feet away, you've got a dark gray and black sand. I mean, it's really neat how this terrain changes here at Hogwaller.
Yeah, it's definitely, it seems like you talk to most of the guys, and a lot of our riders, and maybe that's what's reflecting now. I know Hunter Hart spends pretty much the entire offseason down here training.
As does
not
Walker
far
Fowler.
from here, as does, Walker. So maybe that's why those two guys, not taking anything away from, but maybe that's what's proving so well for Hunter Hart right now. Being up into that number 2 spot, flirting with the lead off and on. So we'll see if he can keep that going. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Bryson, I know in years past, at least last year, he said, man, I stayed pretty much back home in Ohio and trained.
Bryson spent a lot of time at home again this year. I think he may have came down and raced a couple of one-off races or did maybe a weekend of training in South Carolina or something like that, but nothing to any dramatic effects of any stretch of the imagination. So basically most, if not all, his training was done there in the sand pits and in the rock pits, the gravel quarries, if you will, of Gallia County, Ohio, located on the Ohio River there. And, of course, southeastern Ohio. I mean, he's got plenty of places to choose from down there. It's a really rural area. So, aside from the cold temperatures and maybe some of the wet conditions that he was faced with, he still had a lot of great training opportunities, and he took full advantage of it.
That's one of the arguments I hear from a lot of guys, especially amateur level, guys that are working an 8 to 5, they definitely don't have the opportunity to come down and train in it. But even some of the pro guys, they say, well, look, we race in sand pretty much twice a year. Palatka's completely unique and different, and then over in Camp Coker. So I don't really feel I need to train in sand all summer when we're only racing it really twice. I'd rather train back home in more, rocky terrain in the Northeast, things like that.
I think really what the idea behind the training in Florida has developed into, obviously in years past it was the season opening round and people wanted to make that statement, so they would train a little extra down in the sands of Florida. But really, I think a lot of it has to do with weather anymore.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
You've got even the guys from the West Coast. California riders are starting to come to Florida. I mean, especially southern Florida, you're not going to find any better weather. That's a tropical. Yeah, that is Walker back out front in there.
Oh, he's opened up the gap.
So, so we got Walker back out front, Hunter Hart back in second. So, as I was saying, they've got an opportunity to train. And the sand, they may not ride a lot of the sand, but it's good endurance training. And it also, it keeps you on the bike, and you can ride more down here than you can up there. So there are some advantages. Even though you may be training in the sand and you only have 1 or 2 sand races a year, there are some big advantages to being able to do it if you can.
Definitely get more seat time. And like you were talking about with Jared Bolton was talking about, sand's moving like crazy. You get a lot more cardiovascular training in it, training down here. So Walker Fowler on screen right there, trying to escape the screen. And we saw Hunter Hart behind him in the number 2 spot. We'll see if he can reel him back in here when they get into some of these tighter sections.
Well, talking with our drone pilot during the break there just a few moments ago, Mikey, he was amazed. This is his first ever GNCC experience. He says, man, I'm flying 45 miles an hour, and I cannot keep up with these guys in the trees. These guys are clipping along at a 45 to 50 mile an hour pace in these wider tree sections out there. That is amazing. That is crazy speed. You got to wonder, how fast are they going out in those open field sections?
Yeah, where the speed's at. I mean, let alone in the trees, but forget it, that open field section, which we saw. I mean, you could visually see it on screen. Walker was escaping the drone sight there in moments in the open field section, and he's definitely escaping Hunter Hart right now. We'll see what Hunter Hart's got for him. And, boy, how about the black sand? It kind of carves out. Walker getting a little slowed up right there. But it getting
and look at the water holes too. I mean,
yeah.
You can see, and where a lot of the black sand is where the moister dirt is. Believe it or not, and they're getting down in there. And I heard them talking about the digger they deep, the more water is starting to come up. They were talking about that during the micro race. I think Chuck might have been, or maybe it was you that mentioned it during the youth race this morning. But, they're getting down in there, and the water level's a little higher this year because we had a little more moisture leading into this event, so the water is starting to come up a little quicker. And like in years past, I don't think it has, at least to this degree.
So they check in right there. Walker Fowler still in first. There's Hunter Hart on screen right behind him in the number 2 spot. We'll get the timing and scoring on it, see just what that gap is, and then got to think these guys are going to be checking in here, Rodney, for a fuel stop.
We're approaching that 1 hour mark. We're at 52 and a half. We'll be probably close to the 55-minute mark or 54-minute mark.
Ooh, different line choices, and Hunter Hart about pays off for him.
Wow. All right, checking in third place, 9.5 seconds back now in the third place position, Bryson Neal.
So there you go.
All right, guys, here I'm going to lay out a couple of things for you. Lap time, 28:52 for Walker Fowler, 28:53 for Hunter Hart, and with a 15-second penalty, a 28:56 for Bryce Neal.
Wow, he's on fire.
Dude,
that's an impressive lap considering the 15-second
right
penalty.
Now, you look at that right there. Walker Fowler had a 4-second faster lap. You say, oh, Walker's 4 seconds faster. No, they held him up 15 seconds at the finish line. Take 15 seconds away from that lap time and tell me, how fast is Bryson Neal going?
That's nuts. So you got to think pit stop by the end of lap number 3 here. You got to think that we're going to have ourselves a three-way battle.
I think so, and I may eat my words, and I'm going to be proud to swallow them whole if that's the case. Look at that line choices there. These guys, that right there, goes to show you that they've been out. They know what to look for as far as this track and where to look for the extra lines. It's amazing that some riders don't even see that.
Right. Yeah.
And basically, if you're wondering, it looked like they cut that turn. No, you got to understand there are arrows on the trees out there, and you have a 25-foot area from either side of that arrow that you can work with. So that's basically 50 feet wide of racetrack through there that you got to work to get through those certain areas. And sometimes that 25 feet lies within cutting a corner a little bit.
Yeah, which both riders took it right there. So, man, Walker, the speed he's got in these open sections, it's like he's got another gear out there.
I know. I mean, it's funny how close it looks like that the Hunter's going to get with him, and then all of a sudden, as it looks like Hunter's latched on, we see that gap start to open up back to that 3 or 4 second position. Now it's getting a little bit tighter as Hunter is not relinquishing that gap nearly as much as what it was. So this is going to get pretty exciting. Maybe Hunter is finding his own extra gear out here.
Yeah, Hunter Hart kind of had the benefit of some lap traffic right there, kind of held Walker up for a second. Lapper did a good job to get out of the way, but held Walker up just enough that by the time Hunter got to him, the lapper said, oh, okay, here comes the fast guys. I'm going to move over here for a second.
Yeah, and that's the incentive for Hunter. As long as he can keep Walker in his sights, he's going to be able to maintain a very fast pace and maybe even close to the pace that Walker is turning right now, and that will help distance him, keep the distance between he and Bryce Neal. Again, he was 9.5 seconds behind those guys. If you're wondering who is behind Bryce Neal, here's the way the breakdown is. 20 seconds behind Bryce Neal, Cole Richardson in fourth. In the number 5 spot, Adam McGill, 49 seconds behind Cole Richardson.
Wow.
What's that say about those top 4 riders right now? If they've got a minute on the rest of the field, 5th place on back, that's nuts.
That is nuts. I feel like the only time we've seen it is in the past few years.
That might be Neal closing in on Hunter Hart right now. That is Walker Fowler on screen. That is Hunter Hart. That is Bryson Neal. Well within striking distance now. He is reeling in Hunter Hart for the number 2 position as we head through this forest section now. And look at how close this is. He is not much farther behind Hunter as Hunter is behind Walker. Think about this. Think about what I talked about, the 15-second deficit. That is, say, 11 seconds faster than Walker. And he is closing up that gap a lot faster. So he's going faster now than he did on lap 2 here on lap number 3. coming around for pit stops here in just a moment. This is going to get interesting, Mikey Wayne.
It's going to be huge. And I got to think all three are going to stop for fuel. We're, 57 minutes almost into this one? Can you risk going another lap and jump out front if you're a guy like Bryson Neal? Well, there you go. Walker's getting fuel. I think that's the answer right there. If the rest of the team see this, they got to be making the same move.
All right, go time for Walker Fowler. He's in and out of the pits as he makes a quick splash and go, a quick drink, a goggle change, and off and rolling. I assume that Hunter Hart is also as well taking a pit stop, as is Bryson Neal. Hopefully we'll get a little better, closer look on that. That's Walker Fowler we're watching. As you can see, that gas stop was really quick for him, and he is able to capitalize on that, it appears, and start to put even more distance between himself and that second place ride of Hunter Hart. Not sure what's holding Hunter up as far as making this gap. Maybe Hunter went a little bit more, maybe he was using more fuel, so they went ahead and went a little longer extra gas stop on him. But time will tell. I guess we'll get the story in the post-race interviews.
Cole Richardson making his exit right there. I believe that was the number 3 machine that was exiting the pits. So maybe Cole can move up a spot. I'm going to head down there, Rodney, see if I can't find out the word what's going on in the pits.
Well, while they get things sorted out in the pits, let's run down your top 10 real quick in this XC1 class. Walker Fowler leading at the finish line by 3.7 seconds. Looks like that gap has opened up quite a bit over Hunter Hart, Bryson Neal. Another 9.5 seconds back in third. It looked like he had closed that gap up on Hart for second. Cole Richardson back in fourth. Adam McGill in fifth. Jared McClure sixth. John Glotta Jr. in seventh. Chris Porch in eighth. Devin Feehan in ninth. Josh Merritt rounding out your top 10. Bryson has, and I was looking at that, and that is Bryson Neal moving into the number 2 position as he has gotten around Hunter Hart. I'm sure that pit stop, a quick splash and dash, really helped out quite a bit. But look at these different line choices. Hunter Hart going the short route. Oh, and he gets back around Bryson Neal. That might be something, but Bryson Neal right back around him. And look at that, Bryson splashing through that water. Most of the time, guys are trying to ease their way through the water, trying not to suck something up in. You can see some steam coming out of the back of Neal's machine. We hope that doesn't mean anything and that he sucks some water into that machine and he's going to start losing power. We'll just have to wait and see. But Bryson Neal loses second for a mere moment, and Hunter Hart regains it, but back out of the water. Bryson was not wanting to let Hunter to have that advantage as they got back into the dry soils. Walker Fowler, I'm going to assume right now, I'm going to try to get a clock on him when we see him around next, but I'm going to put him somewhere in the neighborhood of about 8 to 10 seconds ahead of the battle for second place between the number 7 of Hunter Hart, who is third now at last check, and Bryson Neal, who is up to the number 2 spot. And I have to say, a little bit of a surprise here for me. Not that the fact that that the way things are breaking down as far as the race, though that Walker Fowler maybe hasn't put the crunch on as much as what I expected. But at the same time, we're seeing glimpses of that in the early part of this race, this first half of the race. So maybe the second half might bring a little different scenario, as Walker Fowler's endurance, obviously top shelf. He might be able to start pulling away from the rest of these guys. Is Bryson Neal's endurance and bike strength and fitness as strong and as well as what he had hoped heading into the season? We've seen him strong in the beginning part of the last seasons without heading south and training down in the sands of Florida. If that is any indication in previous seasons, then today should be no different. And it looks like Bryson Neal could be a factor in this championship, in this race and this finish and the win here at the Hogweiler, and of course this Wild Boar GNCC. Josh Merritt, he's off the machine there. Merritt dropping back to 10th place in the XC1 Pro Class. That looks like a rather extended pit stop there, so not sure what's going on with Josh Merritt, JM8 there, but he's back out and rolling now, so hopefully things are going to be faring well for him. Mikey Wayne's on his way down to our VP Fuels Pro row. Give us some Monster Energy race updates here. As you can tell, looking around, beautiful sunshiny Florida. A little overcast today. A slight breeze blowing. Some folks in jackets. some folks in T-shirts and shorts. I guess it all depends on what part of the country you came from to begin with, what this weather feels like. I will say it is a little bit chilly out there for even for some of us northerners, as there is some moisture in the air. But, man, I mean, it's not cold. It's not like Ohio weather. It's not like Pennsylvania or West Virginia weather by no stretch of the imagination. So a good brunt in Indiana weather, and Michigan and New York, and good brunt of the riders coming from down around that up around that area coming down this way. So they're loving the conditions that we're faced with here today at Wild Boar GNCC. Halfway point of this race now, an hour and 2 minutes into the race. We're going to get a report here from Mikey Waynes. I believe we probably got a lot of things going on, so we're going to try to delve into some of these amateur classes. First, I want to give you a rundown real quick of the top 20 overall. It was Fowler out front, Neal in second, Richardson in fourth, Adam McGill in fifth and sixth, Jared McClure seventh, John Glotta eighth, Chris Borch ninth, Devin Feehan, Josh Merritt. You see that there on the screen. Top 20 and 11 through 20. It's Wesley Wolf, Ben Kowalewski. It is Wyatt Wilkin 13th, Steve Harrell 14th, 15th is Johnny Gallagher, 16th Tanner Walker, 17th Brandon Owens, 18th Jay Shadron, 19th is Kenny Schick. And as we take a look at our amateur classes, let's start with a junior B class. Shane McMillan, the 416 leading that one. We'll head to the Vet B30 Plus. We'll pick that up in a minute. David Kite leading Ben Dunlap, Ryan Lacroni in the number 3 spot, Kazmarski in the number 4 spot, and Neil Miller in number 424 rounds out your top 5 in the Vet B class. There's Walker Fowler on screen right now. Wes Smith leading the senior B40 Plus class with Ashby back in the number 2 spot. Limley in third aboard the 171. Jason Limley, Robert Barrett, the 612 in fourth, and Richie McCauley rounds out the top 5 in the senior B40 Plus class. This will give us a pretty good indication as to what this gap is like in this XC1 Pro class. And I'm thinking we're around that 12, 13 second mark right now, if I counted that back right, that the gap is between first and second as Bryson Neal checks in that number 2 spot now. XC2 Pro-Am class, Ben Kowalewski, Wyatt Wilkin, Tanner Walker, Brandon Owens, and Kenny Schick, your top 5 there after 2 laps of racing complete. As we take a look at our next class, I believe this will be our College A class that we'll be taking a look at next. And this one, a lot of eyes on. Looks like Harold, the 908 in the lead, Corey Vanderliner in the number 2 spot, Ethan Meyer in third, Tiemann in the number 4 spot, and Dalton Keys rounds out 5th place in the College A 16 to 21-year-old class. On screen, Walker Fowler in our Yamaha Racing Live drone. Jay Shadron got the whole shot in the Junior A 22 Plus class. Alex Alioff in second, Jeremy Ladon third, Benny Inderell in fourth, and Brody Livingood rounding out the top 5 in Vet A 30 Plus class. So Fowler enjoying about a 14-second lead. Pick and Papa P, Jeff Pickens leading the Vet A class. Brad Whitehead in second, who got the early lead in the whole shot. Chris Kirby in fourth. Dirk DeCesar in the number 5 spot as we go to Senior A 40 Plus class. Brian Shaw leading Chris Conklin. Mike Wise in the number 3 spot. Chris Berry in fourth, and Andre Barrios in the number 5 spot. That's your Senior A 40 Plus class. College B class, and Ian Burns followed by Dickerson, Greishop, Arbogast in fourth, Stewart in fifth. And of course, let's do our Junior 25 Plus B class, and then we'll check in with Mikey Waynes. We got McMillan, Helbig in second, Sean Newhouse in third, Nick Blaney in fourth, and Robbie Rosenberger rounding out the top 5. Walker Fowler again on screen at the 1 hour and 5 minute mark as he is working his way through lap number 3 right now. And there is David Kite leading that Vet B30 Plus class. So that's where we started out. Dunlap, Lacroni, Kazmarski, Miller still your top 5. Let's head down to Pro Pit Row, VP Fuels Pro Row, where Mikey Waynes is standing by with an update after those pit stops. Mikey, what's going on down there, buddy?
Well, Rodney, it's absolute chaos. I'm here in the Walker Fowler pits because, no, honestly, it's pretty calm, it's chill, it's cool, it's collected. Those that we did not see pit on screen on Racer TV, everybody pit. Everybody got fuel. Everybody got goggles. Josh Merritt with a little bit of trouble, but got back on the machine pretty quick. Something wrong with the front end, but didn't seem too serious, so he's back out there. So all in all, what you see on screen right now, no drama. Everybody's handling these Florida sands pretty well. Nothing to report, Rodney. We'll take it back to you.
Well, I guess no news is good news sometimes, especially if your things are going the way that they are. So it's a great race going on. Everybody seems to be kosher, and everything seems to be rolling the way that it should. There is Walker Fowler. No, that is Bryson Neal. Sorry, I was looking for Walker Fowler. Just came through this section a moment ago. This is our FMF PowerPoint, and that is not Walker Fowler. That is the number 3. I apologize. Cole Richardson. That is your 4th place ride. Cole changing up plastics on me out there. He also was listed as 733. Had me kind of confused out there in the starting lineups, but we got it all sorted out. And then I remembered, oh yeah, that's Cole's old number. But he is the number 3 rider in this 2021 championship season. Now the gap back to 5th place, Adam McGill, nearly 50 seconds right now, folks. So just to let you know, there's a big gap opening up between 4th and 5th. Again, it's Fowler, followed by Neal, Hart, Richardson, and McGill, your top 5. GNCC Live will continue after this. Will Walker Fowler continue this domination? Can Bryson Neal bridge the gap? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
Hi, my name is Andrea Lieb, the director of On Track School. How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
We are American Motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
Monster Energy AMA Supercross in FIM World Championship.
22 riders in the starting gate believe I will be champion.
Be there to see who wins the round at Atlanta Motor Speedway April 10th, 13th, and 17th. Visit supercrosslive.com to get your tickets today.
Yamaha's Aaron Plessinger grew up in the shadows of the off-road trails of the Grand National Cross Country Championship. A skilled youth rider and son of racing legend Scott Plessinger, a two-time champion of the toughest racing series in America, it was expected to see the young Aaron follow in the footsteps of his father to be one of the off-road greats. However, after earning championships as a youth racer in the 65cc, 85cc, and Super Mini classes, he found himself longing for the motocross track, where he had enjoyed many successes as well. As an amateur in MX, Plessinger first caught the eye of the motocross world when he dominated the 250 and 450B classes at the AMA Amateur National Motocross Championship Finals at Loretta Lynn's. That following year, in 2014, he captured 4 250cc Supercross class wins as well as an Arena Cross win. These accomplishments helped to set the stage to him earning the 2015 Supercross Rookie of the Year. Aaron won the 2018 250 AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Another great thing to add to Aaron's story is the fact that as he was making his transition into motocross and supercross stardom, he found time to visit his roots and take top amateur honors several times in 2011 and 2012. In 2013, Aaron battled relentlessly with Jason Thomas for the XC2 Pro Lights Class win at North Carolina's famed Still Creek GNCC. And that's this week in Yamaha history. And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes here from the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC, Palatka, Florida, round 2 of the GNCC Championship Series presented by Specialized E-Turbo Bikes as we are looking out over the 1,000-acre forest here at the Hogwaller, a.k.a. known as the Wild Boar GNCC on the Rodman Plantation. There you can see is one of the basically, that is a boat drag strip. They drag, they take their four-wheelers, they take their mud runners, they take their flat-bottom boats, and they drag race up through that big, long pit there. There's the 1,000-acre woods we're talking about, and that's what the riders are traversing through as they make their way into the closing moments of each and every lap. And I will tell you, that area leading in is a rather wet area as far as these conditions are concerned, so they'll be tiptoeing through different portions of that as well. Checking in on our XC2 battle right now, we've seen some great racing going on there. Haven't had a chance to highlight a lot of it just yet, but Ben Kowalewski, the 447, Wyatt Wilkin in second, Ronnie Rush, the number 714, Old Rocket Ronnie in third place, Tanner Walker in fourth, and Brandon Owens rounding out the top 5. That is Owens going by there on the 246. And Owens, a rider running this XC2 class, is one that we expect to see a lot of things out of. I know he had some issues at the last round, but running a solid top 5 here in the XC2 class today. There's your 6th place rider. I believe that's Kenny Schick, or is that a change there? That's the 714. Actually, we've got a change there. Looks like Brandon Owens has moved around Ronnie Rush now. So Owens is ahead of Rush, and Rush is either in that 4th or 5th place position. I think that's going to drop him back to the number 5 spot. So a few changes taking place in XC2 Pro-Am class. Glad we were able to catch up with those guys on screen right there and get a little bit of an idea of what that second Premier class is starting to shape up like. 1 hour, 15 minutes into this race here in the sands of Palatka, Florida. Glad that you folks have chosen to be along with us as we are waiting for our leaders to check in. Just to give you an idea, those XC2 Pro-Am riders in the battle coming down to the finish line in about 16 minutes for lap 3 complete on that one. We're about 5 minutes, 25 seconds out right now from seeing our XC1 Pro ATV leaders check in. Wow, that is a big difference. These guys up front have really amassed a pretty substantial lead over the rest of the field of riders, not just talking XC1 riders, but I'm talking the entire overall field. That is crazy to see that those guys are running somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10 minutes off the pace. The leaders 10 minutes behind the pace of what Walker Fowler is turning on these first couple of laps out there. That's pretty impressive stuff if you do the math and think about it. What kind of pace Walker is laying down right now. And, you know, I alluded to this at the early part of the show. Oftentimes on that first lap, we see those XC2 guys getting up into the top 10, maybe even a top 5 sometimes, because they're usually a little more intense off the start than what the XC1 class. It's a whole different ball game here this year. There's one of our GNCC Kennel Club puppies
Beautiful. Oh, man, that is a beautiful dog right there. So all families coming out and enjoying themselves. Mikey Wayne's, of course, he always finds the friendly ones out there. And I guess, yeah, those are Adam McGill's puppies. Those are, yeah. Now I can see him. I can see Adam in their eyes right there. Look at that. They're waiting on Adam to come in right now. He calls them his fur babies. That's his fur babies.
That's a good name.
Yeah, they don't have children, but those two puppies, those are his fur babies, and they treat them like they're kids, and you can tell they're very well-trained dogs, no doubt. Just waiting on Daddy to come into the pit so they can cheer him on as he goes through.
By cheering them on, you mean barking.
Exactly. But, you know, that's one thing that I like to point out. I mean, this is a very family-oriented affair that we have here in GNCC Racing. Just to point out, you know, you see sometimes a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter, all the family racing on the same weekend, in maybe even in the some day.
What's that say?
Push now, party later. Whose is that?
That's probably Walker. Oh,
that's Adam McGill's
okay.
pit board. Push now, party later. I guess he has to keep reminding himself of that. But I'm sure it's just a friendly reminder, and basically what they're saying, the better you do, the better the party's going to be. So push now so we can party later.
That is pretty true. I didn't think about that like that.
Yeah, you got to look at things from different angles, Ryan.
Speaking
of different angles, no matter what angle you look at this at,
it's still bad.
It's still bad. It is still real bad. I am interested to see what kind of line choices we may have. Haven't had a chance to be out on the trail this year. Generally, I go out and ride here in Florida, especially at least a third or two-thirds of the race course. Didn't get a chance to go out anywhere this week prior to the race, although I do know that there was a lot of water out there.
My God.
See, that's the kind of things, you know, obviously that was a good line choice for him, but he didn't expect that deep rut that those front wheels were going to be falling into. So without the aid of four-wheel drive, which some of our riders have in the morning.
Rut. It looked deep, but it's not as deep as it looked.
So deceiving, just like we said.
Exactly. Everything just tricks you.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you saw it, but right here, right after this finish, that is deep rut.
Yeah.
I saw there was I think it was a youth bike or whatever, stuck.
Yeah.
Well, youth quad.
Yeah, that was happening quite a bit this
buried.
morning. Yeah, I heard that in a couple of different areas. So that you know they're getting deep on this sand. There's no doubt about that. So it's a challenge. There is no doubt. So you're going to have your challenges for you tomorrow morning, Ryan Amancio.
Why do you got to remind me about that? You know, I came here excited. You know, I'm going to do good. I'm going to be dry. Training sand. And then you come here, instead of sand, you get mud, you get deep holes.
All righty, leaders coming to the Muster Mile, but that's just the nature of GNCC racing,
it
Ryan.
Is. You just don't know what's comes.
You don't know what's going to.
Oh, wow, did you see that?
Wow, Walker Fowler. And talk about those ruts. Look, he's trying to ride those ruts and trying to get off to the sides of them. You know, generally you see
Look
Walker.
Look at Bryce Neal. That was Bryce Neal.
Wow,
right
was
there.
that Neal that close?
That's Neal.
Bryson Neal has closed to within about a 4-second gap between he and Walker Fowler. He's got him in sights. He has got him in the bead right now, folks. There's Wesley Wolf we see on screen a lap down. Not sure what's going on with him. Not sure where the number 7 of Hunter Hart is at this particular moment either, as we are wondering this very same thing, Ryan Amancio. Where is Hunter Hart? He was a member and a mix of that battle that was up front for so long for the first half of this race, but evidently maybe the push early might have been a little more than what Hunter was maybe ready for endurance-wise. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. But then again, you never know. I mean, Hunter has been training in the sands like Walker, but, you know, like we said, you know, Walker's been spending a lot of time his endurance, and he trains maybe in a little different and more intense way than other riders do. So he's got something figured out a little more than others do, kind of like Caleb Russell and a few of the guys did on the two-wheel side of things.
That is for sure, but I think what's happening is that Hunter Hart, he could race half of the race up there up front. Then I feel like either he just loses focus, or he gets tired, or something distracts him, or something does not.
Well, I think if we look,
there he is.
There's Hunter Hart. He does check in on the number
goggles.
3 spot.
Oh, that's gonna suck.
But
no goggles.
No goggles in third spot, but a big gap.
Leaders are late coming to the finish line right now. We're going to get an idea of what the lap times. 28:52 was the lap
look
time.
at Cole Richardson. So, that's, ruts, left riders, you can't get, I'm pretty sure this is for 4 wheels and 2 wheels as well. If someone's in a rut and you're behind them, there's no way they're getting out.
Yeah, you're not getting out. You can't get around. All right, Austin Abney standing by with Mikey Waynes in the pit. Let's check in there.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, down here, Austin Abney, rookie this season, round 2, Florida Sand. It's a race of survival, man. You're here in the pits, the helmet's off, the gear's coming off. What the heck happened?
We were out there, and clutch started acting up, so I actually had to stop, let the clutch cool down, and noticed there was a bunch of oil, so we pulled in here and had to find out the bottom of the case cracked out. So we're out of oil and out of time here in Florida.
Out of time, on to Georgia, man. So what are the thoughts? Second round, obviously, we know how this one went for you. We know the end of the story. 2 rounds, or a round and a half, I should say, under your belt now. How are you adjusting here to this rookie season?
We're, like I said, before the first round, I know it's a learning year. I would hope I would have had this whole motor thing figured out, but it happened, so we're just going to move forward and keep learning.
On to Georgia. Short week, man. You going to be ready to go in Georgia?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll take it back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot, Mikey Waynes. In the meantime, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal checking in. 2.7 seconds separating the two riders as we watched them from our Yamaha live drone in the woods. We can see right now that Bryson Neal is much closer than 2.7 seconds as they weave their way through the trees. Now back out into some of this wet section of race courses. They hit some of the Hog Waller's famous mud bogs here. And right back into these 4 sections, it is still Walker Fowler out front. When we're going to say in that 2 to 3 second range, it's getting tighter. It's kind of like that accordion effect that we see so often out here. And bunching up and then separating, bunching up and separating. And that's what we're bearing witness to right now with Walker Fowler in the lead and Bryson Neal right behind him in the number 2 spot. As we take a look back to that number 3 spot, that 3.7 seconds that Hunter Hart was behind Walker Fowler a lap ago has turned into a much wider gap of Hunter Hart as a minute and 43 seconds back. A lapped rider in the way of Walker Fowler, but not going to slow his progress down. And look at this, Walker Fowler is hot on the throttle right now as he is trying to use those lapped riders to get between he and the number 2 of Bryson Neal, but he's getting caught up with this lap rider now, and Bryson Neal pulling up onto the rear grab bar now of Walker Fowler. We've got a nose-to-tail battle now as Walker gets by the lap rider. There goes Bryson Neal, and he's got turbo in that Yamaha.
This is where experience will come into play, especially for Walker, because Walker's ahead, and Walker, he obviously doesn't want to be behind Bryson because it's a final lap, anything could happen, but he wants to stay ahead of him and not be behind Bryson, because Bryson, if he gets ahead and he opens,
that's where the mind games start to play in. There's no doubt about that. And the mind games start playing, and the question has been asked so many times, is Walker in his own head out there? Is Bryce in Walker's head? And that question is hard to answer right now. And I guess we probably won't get that answer until maybe Walker divulges the answer to that. Is it him or is it Bryson in his head? Either way, Bryson Neal is taking advantage of the circumstance and the situation as we welcome Mikey Waynes back in studio. And here it is, the battle. They are literally, look at this, you could throw a blanket over them. A couple of bike links separate these two Mikey Waynes as they come through this tree section now in this kind of open field section. Is Bryson Neal going to be able to thread a needle out here and make the pass? If he does, what's that going to mean here in this last lap of racing?
Well, I think this is what the folks at home were wanting last week. They wanted to see this Neal, this Fowler battle just like this. We didn't get to see it last week, or a couple weeks ago, a little unique, but here you go. It's unfolding right here on Racer TV right now.
Well, I'll tell you, I wasn't taking anything away from Bryson Neal, but I was in anticipation of Walker Fowler coming out on a mission today, and I thought that since Bryson had that hiccup off the start, lost that 15 seconds worth of time, just think about where this race would be right now had he not done that. And So, but in my opinion, coming into this, my thought was that Walker was just going to come out here with total destruction on his mind, and I'm sure that's what is on his mind. But Bryson Neal, he is not relinquishing to that any whatsoever. He is, the old norm of Walker's going to do this. Walker, he doesn't live by that rule. He lives by the Bryson Neal rule of, I'm going to win this race if at all possible.
Oh, and he's reeling them in. They keep stretching out, reeling them in. That accordion effect, yo-yo effect, whatever you want to call it, is hot and heavy right now. And you could see the Neal pits as they went through Pro Row. Those guys practically in the middle of Pro Row right there, cheering them on, saying, go get them, now's the time.
I'll tell you what, no matter what happens at this point on, Bryson Neal is thick in the head of Walker Fowler just simply by being able to close that gap the way that he has, coming from where he came from to get to where he is right now. When Walker goes back and reflects upon this race, there are going to be lingering moments of Bryson Neal really pounding hard in his head, and this is going to be pretty exciting. I'm not giving this race away to Bryson Neal by no stretch of the imagination. I'm not giving this race away to Walker Fowler by no stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying right here, we have got a mano duel right down to the battle. This right here is going to be some bragging rights for one of these riders when the checker flag flies today.
That nails it right there. A little lap traffic right there for Walker. Lap rider moves out of the way for Walker for the moment and gets out of the way for Bryson Neal right there. And this is where it could get tricky.
Yeah.
Does one of them have something up the sleeve right here? And this is a place, Rodney, we talked about it earlier. This changes throughout the course of the race. I mean, something that could have been fairly shallow early could be deep now.
Uh-oh. Now look at the steam coming out of the machine of Bryson Neal. He's gone through that. He's eaten a lot more wake into his machine than what Walker Fowler is. Will this be an issue for Bryson Neal? Look at how fast Walker Fowler exited that water hole, and Bryson Neal seems to be a little down on power right now. Is he getting stuck, or is the water causing some issues for him with the motor right now? This is going to be very interesting to see what happens here in the next half a mile or so. That's going to tell a lot.
This is what the folks at home wanted right here. Camera pans back. Where's Hunter Hart? Where's that third place rider?
Well, we're waiting to see ourselves, and we'll get a bird's eye view coming up on that in a few moments. And I'm curious to see, did Bryson Neal maybe do some damage to that machine, because Walker Fowler really put the hammer down coming out of that water hole right there, and he put a big distance gap between himself and the number 2 machine. I never did see Bryson Neal come out of that water hole on fire like what I saw Walker Fowler coming out of that. So we'll see right here whether or not that was an issue, what, if any, thing happened to Bryson Neal, and if that is going to be maybe the deciding factor of what this race is going to be. I mentioned that when Bryson Neal went through a lap ago. We watched that. He was going through much faster than anyone else, and I mentioned the possibility of getting that water up into that air breather and sucking that water into the motor. Now, when you put two riders that close together, I said he was sucking up the majority of the wake. He was not only getting the water that he was pushing, but he was also getting water from Walker Fowler's machine.
Yeah, got to use the wake terms. We're in Florida. I like that. I like that.
All right, so watching this one, Mikey Waynes, you know, it's pretty interesting to me the way this is all breaking down. Like I said, it has said all day, you know, I came in with a different mindset of what this race was going to be. I had in my mind that Walker Fowler was going to come in. He was going to be basically unstoppable. I thought since he's trained so hard in the sand, you know, and Bryson Neal hasn't. Now, I know that Bryson's had good runs here, and last year was a proving point of that. Even though he didn't win here last year, he had a really strong run. But I just thought maybe Walker might have the advantage in the sand. This right here could be a turning of the tide, my friends, and this we might be witnessing this, and this is pretty exciting if you're a GNCC racing fan. If you're a Walker Fowler fan, you might be a little nervous right now, but if you're a fan of racing, you know this is good for the sport.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The other thing, I got to think, if I'm Bryson Neal, folks at home, you might be thinking, well, Neal, if he gets second, well, we basically start back over at zeros heading into round 3, right? So they'll be tied for the points because Walker's got to win, Bryson's got to win. Make no mistake, Bryson Neal knows you cannot give Walker Fowler an inch. He knows he needs every win he can get, and if Walker Fowler's in Bryson Neal's sights, he's got to make it happen. He's got to go out there and try to snag a win.
Yep, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And like I said, Bryson Neal could sit right here, and that's what I said. And I even made this mention, even if Bryson is able to catch up to him and it proves to be a little maybe on the ragged edge too much to get around Walker to take that win, he's better suited to stay right where he is and leave this one with the actual tie in points rather than risking something and maybe losing more than this, that going into the third round as a tied and holding with Walker for that championship points lead. So I mean, this right here is not only a racer's game, but you got to be thinking about this. This is where a true champion starts to think about the championship. I know it's only round 2, but you got to plan. You got to work accordingly. You know how we say, and you said it. I've heard you say it. I've said it. Every announcer, says it. Your championships are won on your worst days.
Oh, for sure.
And if this is a worst day for Bryson Neal, that's okay.
Yep.
Live with it and accept it. If round 1 was a bad day for Walker Fowler, accept it. Live with it. And honestly, that's just the way it is. And both these riders at a level right now, and I think we're starting to see that come to fruition for last year with the breakout season that Bryson Neal had and what we're seeing so far here. Yeah, we're starting to see 2 riders on this level right now.
Yeah, that nails it, Rodney. And one of the guys, too, the guy sitting in third right now, Hunter Hart, was talking to a few folks out on the pro row, not just in Hunter Hart's pit, but the rest of them. They said, we're not surprised to see Hunter Hart doing these things. He's right there. They said this season, look for him to be up there battling with these guys. But they said, honestly, we're a little scared of what Hunter Hart's going to do next season and forward, because each race he's up there battling with these guys. They know this was what we saw out of Bryson Neal the last couple of years. That confidence boost is there. Okay, I'm a podium regular guy. Walker Fowler on screen right there. See where Bryson Neal's at. Rodney's counting. Oh, it's tightening up, Rodney.
About 3 seconds right there is all I'm seeing in between first and second place right now. So Neal is able to bridge that gap. So my question about the water, he maybe slowed down to keep from getting that wake, and that's where Walker was able to get that quick gap on him right there. But he, with lap traffic and obviously the speeds that Bryce Neal is pushing right now, he was able to bridge that gap right back up to basically on the rear grab bar of the number 1 of Walker Fowler.
I'm ready to see this finish. I want to see these guys coming through wheel to wheel, handlebar to handlebar, how we like it through the finish. And don't get me wrong, they're nice to each other. They like each other. They're not enemies by any means, but they're going to lay it all out if it comes down to it in those last few turns.
Man, nearly 2 minutes ahead of third place position right now, first and second place. I mean, wow. I mean, that's
insane.
That is insane. And, we've had one rider on certain days that seem to be at this level, but when you get 2 riders on the same day at this level, wow, this is what we get right here.
for what has seemed like, at least maybe not all 6 of the last years, but maybe for 3 or 4 of them, it's been the Walker Fowler show, unless something happens to him mechanically or he's not racing.
I said Walker Fowler's name so many times in the last few years. I swear I was going to start charging him I was afraid he was going to start charging.
Throw me some sponsorship money.
Yeah, but I was actually afraid he was going to start charging us just to use his name as much as we were using it. But I'm sure that he would like to hear that a lot more these days.
For sure.
But that's the nature of the beast, man. I mean, that's the way it was for him when Chris Borich was the man, when Bill Balance was the man. Then Chris Borich came in. The same kind of stories were starting to be told about Chris and Bill. Same kind of stories about Walker and Chris. Same kind of stories now about Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler. And if you would have guessed it 3 years ago, you probably would have never said. There were a few handful of people who said Bryson Neal's the next guy on the rise, but I'm sure there were other riders that many riders people would have chosen ahead of that. And it's interesting how things pan out and play out over the course of time in this sport of ours. FMF PowerPoint, look how close they are, nearly nose to tail. When one comes out, the other one right there behind him. FMF PowerPoint as they zig and zag through these chicanes. Mikey Waynes, they're riding train tracks out there. Neither rider is getting out of those grooves. Normally when we see Walker, he's running 3 or 4 inches to the left, 3 or 4 inches to the right. That not being the case today because it's not possible, I don't think. There's
a lot of this track out there from talking to the youth in the morning race. single track, if you will. There's no line choices. The line that you see, it's the only one you can take. And to say they're rutted out is an understatement. Some of these sections, I don't think there's a bottom to it.
I'll tell you, it's going to make for a very interesting two-wheel battle coming up tomorrow. There's no doubt about that, because we got barn burners going on in that one as well. But right now, still up in the air. Who's going to take this one? Walker Fowler, or will Bryson Neal pull the shot? Will we hear the shot from the Bidwell Bullet as he'll take the checkers here today in Florida? Who knows? Stick around. GNCC Live continues right after this.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do. But who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We changed the industry by formulating the first API-qualified 100% synthetic motor oil. The rest of the market has been trying to follow our lead ever since. But a head start is a head start. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond. Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes and ammunition for your body. ARMA, man. Just checking that stuff out there. pretty cool stuff, and glad to have them on board here at Racer TV, of course. Walker Fowler due in, and Bryson Neal in about 10.5 minutes for checkered flag, Mikey Waynes. And just kind of trying to set the stage on this one, man. Again, if you're just joining us or you joined us late, Bryson Neal, 15-second penalty assessed to him on lap number 1. He was running in 3rd place at the end of the first lap. He had a false start, started the engine early. Didn't start actually, but he got it turned off, and then he got off to a bad start. Was able to pass through the pack up to 3rd place, dropped back to I think 6th place, and was back into 3rd place behind Hunter Hart. Quickly got around Hunter Hart and has reeled in Walker Fowler to the point where he is within inches at times of that rear grab bar, and certainly giving us a whole lot of excitement as far as round 2 and this Wild Boar GNCC. I mean, I expected, I anticipated exciting things. I'm going to tell you, I didn't expect it like this. I can't say that this isn't what I hoped for, because yes, these are the kind of races you hope for, but I really didn't expect it this time. It's a pleasant surprise to see that I was wrong for a change.
Yeah, right.
I didn't mean it like that. But,
it's not a bad deal. I feel like,
but sometimes you look at historical factors. You know riders' personalities and things, and sometimes you take judgment upon those. But there's the unknown variables like the hunger and desires of other riders like Bryson Neal that I didn't factor into that. I mean, that's just plain and simple the way it boils down to it. And so it gives us this 10 more minutes of exciting action right down to the wire. Who's it going to be? Walker Fowler? Is it going to be Bryson Neal? As they go by our camera shot here, and you can see they are still nose to tail, man. I mean, you can use any cliche here. You can throw a blanket over them. You can slip you can't hardly slip a piece of paper in between them. He's towing them, whatever, I mean, these guys are close. I mean, in terms of GNCC racing, that is virtually side by side when those guys come that close. No, it's not literally side by side, but it is getting there figuratively in this sport, and we see how quickly time can be made up, and those turns cut just a fraction of a second, a better line choice here and a line choice there, making up a 2 to 3 second gap in a blink of an eye. I just love the nature of this sport and the way it comes down to the very end.
Another thing, as this one gets close to the end, as close as Bryson Neal is, Bryson Neal and Walker, they know the gap they have between them and 3rd place rider Hunter Hart. So if I'm Bryson Neal, I know, hey, I can risk it for the win. I can make a move that is very aggressive because I know if I go down, I've got some time to get back on my machine and still probably take home 2nd without Hunter Hart coming up behind me and taking it away from me. So we very well could see a very aggressive move by Bryson Neal down in the wire in this one.
Most certainly, and it's going to be exciting. And, I've been doing this for 25 years. This, I think, is my 25th season in some capacity of being in association with Grand National Cross Country Championship Series. And as many amazing championship battles and as many exciting times as I've seen, I have to think that we may be in store for maybe the best yet. And I've seen some amazing things, Mikey. We've talked about them and time again. You've asked me questions, and I've remembered things and told you stories. But this right here, my friend, may be the best out of every one we've ever witnessed.
They're definitely setting the bar high early.
And I'm talking around the roundhouse, ATV side and the motorcycle things, with Caleb Russell being gone on the two-wheel side of things. That has certainly opened that threshold up with what we got going on, the chink in the armor, maybe the dent in the armor of Walker Fowler's now that the other riders are starting to feel that they have, at least at this moment. This is pretty exciting as to what this can lend itself to over the course of the next now 11 rounds of ATV racing, still 12 rounds of motorcycle racing.
This today on the ATV side, it almost feels like, a couple years ago for the two-wheel side of things where we saw it was, okay, when we come into the race day, we know it's going to be a Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall battle. Caleb's probably going to be out front, but Thad's always going to be there. And then that 3rd place guy, well, it's probably going to be Stu Baylor. It's almost like we're seeing that now, a younger Stu Baylor. It's almost like we're seeing that on the ATVs where we've got, okay, Walker Fowler, definitely still the guy to beat. But Bryson Neal is right there. Is it his time? He's always going to be there fighting. And then you've got the young and upcoming Hunter Hart, who is probably going to be that number 3 guy unless someone jumps up there and knocks him off. It's just very similar, very big similarities there.
Well, I'll tell you, man, the one thing that keeps me coming back is these kind of scenarios, and the fact that after 2 and 3 hours of racing, these guys are virtually wheel to wheel, nose to tail whenever they come through these finish lines and come down to the finish lines. And, you don't see that in nearly any other form of racing.
Right.
Occasionally car racing and things like that, you might get that on occasion, but rarely do you see that in motocross and supercross. It's been a little better this year on the supercross and motocross end of things, but it's never been as good as what it is right here, right now. Is that our lead? I don't think that is the lead.
I believe so.
Okay, so on screen, Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal still in that order as we watch them manipulate, and it looks to me like things must be very deep out there because we are not seeing the speeds out of any of these riders that we were seeing in some of these sections earlier. And that train track effect is what we're witnessing, and you can tell just how dark those 2 ruts are on either side of that path going through the woods. That means that this trail is getting very, very deep right now. We are right now 4 minutes 22 seconds from an anticipated waving of the checker flag, and I'm getting reports now that may not have been our leaders, but regardless, there was a good battle going on through there. No, Mike, it's all right. It's hard to tell, especially like I said, what we're talking about, these ruts and things, and that's the kind of circumstances that lends us to riders of that caliber slowing down to those paces that we're seeing these riders slowing down on here in this final lap. But at the same time, we'll know more here in just a few moments. We're now about 3.5 minutes or so out from when we expect to see leaders check into the finish line region and the waving of the flag for, well, our winner. Will it be Walker Fowler? Will it be Bryson Neal? What will it be, and what will that mean as we roll into Georgia in just 1 short week? If we leave here with a tie in the championship, both riders are going to be stoked and riding high into Georgia in hopes of being able to reclaim or gain the points lead. If Bryson Neal is able to leave out of here with a 2-race win and a 10-point lead, the host of confidence that he will be carrying will be unsurmountable, I am sure, and even Walker Fowler will find it difficult to maybe knock Bryson Neal off that top shelf. Right now, Bryson Neal, if he gets this win, if he's able to go head-to-head with Walker Fowler, this is going to answer a lot of questions. This is going to as well back up a lot of statements that a lot of folks have made over the course of the last year or so about the rise of Bryson Neal and the threat that he holds in the championship for Walker Fowler. So, again, folks, this is exciting times in the GNCC Racing Nation as we are witnessing history here once again today in the sands of Florida as this nose-to-tail battle for the ATV overall win here at this Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC unfolds before our very eyes. 1 hour and nearly 50 minutes now into this race and this battle as Walker Fowler checks in the Monster Mile. Where is Bryson Neal, the number 2? We look back. The gap has opened up now between first and second place. Walker Fowler looking over his shoulder at the 13-mile marker, sees no Bryson Neal. Where is the number 2 of Neal now? Still no sign of the number 2 of Bryson Neal unless we missed him going through. I'm not going to say that isn't the case, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Something must have happened. Walker Fowler appears to have now opened that lead up over that second place position. You can see the lapped rider looking over his shoulder as if someone is approaching very quickly. He keeps looking back. I'm going to assume that is the number 2 of Bryson Neal now. And if that's the case, it looks like this is going to leave here with a tie in the points battle. And this one will leave here with Walker Fowler still with the confidence of that 6 championships behind him. And Bryson Neal will still have the fire and the desire to try and reel him back in. As we check on screen, that is that. No, that is not the number 2 of Bryson Neal. Thought it was there, but I've seen that Maxxis logo on there, but this is not Bryson Neal. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, something big's happened here for the number 2 machine. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say maybe water related, because he really hit some of those water holes hard out there, and if he did that again and maybe sucked up some water into that motor, we might have seen some motor problems. Again, that is complete speculation on my part. I'm just curious and wondering what is going on here at the 13-mile marker as Walker Fowler makes his way toward the finish line right now. 11 seconds away is where we're seeing him. I'm sure we'll get a split screen going on this one here in just a moment, because we're going to want to watch the finish line as well and see what's going on back here behind Walker Fowler as we approach the conclusion of the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC here in beautiful Palatka, Florida. There is your 6-time GNCC champion, Walker Fowler, traversing his way through the final and closing moments of the 1,000-acre woods as the checkers fly, and Walker Fowler takes win number 61 and the first win of the 2021 season here at the Wild Boar GNCC. So Fowler taking the big win, and I know that one right there is going to mean a whole lot for him, and the chinks in the armor, the dents in the armor. I think the questions may have just been answered. Walker Fowler comes out on top yet again in a heated battle with Bryson Neal here in Florida. Still waiting on Bryson Neal to make his way in. As we check this one, it was an hour, 51 minutes, and 55 and a half second race for Walker Fowler as he checked in there with 4 laps complete. And still waiting on second place, Bryson Neal. There is the smile that has escaped Walker Fowler's face for some time now. And there it is back. You can see the weight has been lifted off his shoulder. Walker Fowler back at 100% here in the GNCC Racing Nation. Mark Notman, you can see a big sigh of relief for him as well. And there's Rock Grayling down there to congratulate him. Donnie Luce as well from Yamaha. There's Larry Mills from DP Brakes. A lot of folks down there ready to congratulate our GNCC champion. And now tied for points here in the 20. Well, we don't know. He might actually have the points lead depending on what happens with Bryce Neal. Haven't seen Bryce Neal check in just yet. Haven't heard any word on what's going on there. So maybe we can get a word on what's going on with Bryson Neal right now. But I have to wonder, folks, I said it, when he went through those water puddles, was he maybe sucking in too much water? Was he going to cause motor damage in his machine for later on in the battle? I guess time will tell, and we'll find out more answers to those questions a little later on and what the problem just may be, but we're also going to get a good idea of who's going to be taking that third place position, maybe even second place. We saw Cole Richardson making his way in now on that number 3 machine. The Cole train out of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania has not been much of a factor in this race today, but he may get himself a podium here at the end of this battle Royale, I like to call it, in GNCC Racing. And as we update that, still no one in for second place. That 2-minute barrier that Walker Fowler had talked about last season may have been achieved here today as we still wait for second place to cross the finish line. More top pro riders checking in. There's the number 4, Jared McClure. Adam McGill just ahead of him as well. Chris Borich also in the hunt back there as he's approaching the 13-mile marker. As we still wait on that second place finisher, no sign, and we are approaching some 2+ minutes since last, maybe even 3 minutes now, since Walker Fowler has checked into this from this battle with the checkers and the win today. Amazing what we have bared witness to here in GNCC Racing today. Still no sign of second place. Last time we saw them on screen, they were nose to tail basically with Neal right behind Walker Fowler. Did he push that envelope too much? Did the scenarios shape up that I was talking about? Did Bryson take the risks that we were afraid that he might take and put himself in this exact circumstance and situation? Again, we'll get the answers to these and many more questions as we wait patiently here at this finish line to find out who will be our second place finisher in this XC1 Pro class and for the overall
here at the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. Walker Fowler checked in at 1 hour 51 minutes 55 seconds. We'll call it 1 hour 52 minutes. We are now near and at 1 hour and 56 minutes, so we're looking at a 4-minute gap. This is getting close to what I would say record-breaking times in between positions. Oh, mercy, there went down. Was that the number 4 of McClure going down? That was a battle for second coming down to the wire right there, and your Battle 1 rider going down there. I believe that was the battle for second. Maybe I was wrong. That looked like now. That was Hunter Hart checking in second. Your third place position finish will go to Cole Richardson. That was Richardson that went down, tangling with Hunter Hart there in the final turns, coming to the checker flag. Still no sign of Bryson Neal. And no word yet as to what the problem may be as to why he has not crossed this finish line yet. Adam McGill in the number 4 spot. 4 minutes, 23 seconds, the gap between first and second. Walker Fowler over Hunter Hart. And this, my friends, is an exclamation point as large as I've ever seen in my life as far as a statement that Walker Fowler is making today. Not only taking the win, but somehow or another able to do it by 4 minutes and 23 seconds over the rest of the field. Still no answers as to what happened to Bryson Neal, the number 2, who was in the shadows of Fowler as they were approaching the closing moments of this race. We'll be heading down to the finish line region in just a few moments to get our specialized post-race interview with Walker Fowler in just a few moments. Also Hunter Hart and Cole Richardson. But the question burning in everyone's mind right now is what happened to Bryson Neal. Let's head down to Mikey Waynes.
Well, thanks, Rodney. Down here with Walker Fowler, man. We knew 2021 was going to be wild. Took you 2 rounds. You got the win.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? I think we just got lucky. That's all there is to it. We got lucky.
That's it? Just luck? Pure luck? After all these wins, 61 wins.
That's all it takes to win a championship. That's all it takes to win races, a little bit of luck. So
just a little bit of luck.
I got lucky. Hopefully I get lucky a couple more times in my career.
I think you're going to get lucky several more in your career, man. Well, talk about this Palatka GNCC. I mean, it's always gnarly down here. This one was pretty gnarly. A battle with you and Bryson Neal we saw unfold on Racer TV. You're finally able to snag that win this year.
Yep, got off to a good start. Big shout out to Hunter Hart. Man, we had such a good time those first 2 laps. That kid, he's going to be a handful coming up. I'm excited that, as good as it is for the fans that, Neal and I are riding good, it's going to be even better when Hunter Hart and a couple of these other young kids start making their way up through. And, instead of having one guy get away or a two-rider battle, we're going to be seeing 3 and 4 guys here. And that's what this sport needs. And, man, I have never been to a Florida GNCC that had this many people, and I think people are just excited about racing again. And man, the ATV numbers outdid the bike numbers last race, even with all the fiasco that Racer TV had. ATV racing's alive and well. I don't care who you say, or if everyone wants to down it, say it's dying. Just look at the numbers, man. We're healthier than ever.
Nailed it right there. Walker, what's tied for the points lead, I believe, coming into the – well, no, I take that back.
No,
Bryson did not finish second, so I take that back. So now in the points lead, you're in control of the season. What's the mindset with the short week in between second and third round?
Again, this is where our team really starts to shine. We start picking up our stride. The first couple races are always tough, but I'd say by around 5 or 6, that's where things really start to really show their face. So, a huge bummer for Neal. He was riding really good. That was a tough track. It was tough on the machines. You could definitely override it. And I was just trying to stay, smooth because I know last year Bryson got around me and crashed. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do my thing. If he wants to go for it, go for it. And it got quiet. And I was like, well, you know what? Just doing my thing. I'm my own worst enemy. So, I cut my own finger off. I got myself a concussion, and I won today's race. Damn it, I'm excited.
There you go. He's excited. Make some noise for Walker Fowler.
Way to go, Walker. Good job, buddy. And, a statement, joking or not, the way he said it, he's a lucky person. He's a lucky Fowler, no doubt about it. But the one thing you got to say, you make your own luck, my friends. There's no doubt about it. You put yourself in the positions for luck to happen, and that's exactly what Walker Fowler has done here today as he demolishes the entire field of GNCC racers. That was my call coming into it. It didn't come down exactly the way I thought it would, but he does make that statement that we exactly thought he would coming into this round. Hunter Hart will finish up in second. Maybe another best. I know he's got a win under his belt, but that second place position finish, the ride that he put together, amazing. Cole Richardson again in that third place. Will be down to talk with he and Hunter here in just a moment. Again, McGill in fourth, Chair McClure in fifth. Chris Borch is checked in sixth. And just FYI, still no sign of Bryson Neal at the finish line. So those points gap, and that points gap continues to widen between first and, well, what was first place. And, of course, we got a new points leader, and not sure where that's going to put Bryson Neal at the end of the day, but I know where that puts Walker Fowler, cloud nine right now. He is loving life and living large, and rightfully so. All the hard work, my friend, is paying off. There's no doubt about it. So Fowler out front in this one. Hunter Hart taking second. I know Mikey Waynes is working to get a word in with him. We're going to check in with those two here in just a few moments and get the word from Hunter about how great a race day he had.
What is
Mikey?
going on, guys?
Hunter's going to take us from there, Rodney. This guy's amped up. I don't know if he's shivering or the adrenaline is going. Round one, you finished third. Round two, in a big surprise, Hunter Hart finishes second.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, super pumped. I was joking to Mark at the start. I was like, buddy, watch this. We're going to get a whole shot today. And managed to get the whole shot. And then I let Walker by because I was like, I figured he could set a better pace than I could. And it was sweet. I followed him for the first two laps. And then it was nice. I was able to be out front and just make it easy on myself all day. And then Cole and I were in a battle that last lap, and it was intense, but it was a good day. It was solid, super good day.
Have you had a moment to kind of think about the start you've had to this season? The last couple of years we've been saying, where's Hunter Hart? When's it going to start clicking for him? I got to think, man, things are clicking, rolling for you now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've put a lot of good steps in the right direction. We hired Steve Hatch to help us out. He's been helping us for about the last 8 months, really, when I turned it around last year. And then the whole WFR, Mark Notman, they helped me out a ton as well. And we've put the steps in the right direction, and we've been able to start putting the program together to where we're confident and comfortable every weekend.
There you go. Congratulations. Make some noise. Second place finish, Hunter Hart.
And how does this sound? Welcome back, podium contender Hunter Hart, second place here in round two. Cole Richardson, we saw, I think he actually took a spill right there at the very end of that race trying to get around Hunter Hart for that third place position. But Coltrane really chugging along today and doing just exactly what he needed to do to put himself in a great position at race day in. Adam McGill, too, the Gator down here in the sands of Florida. Pretty impressive by that rider, only 17 seconds behind Richardson. So, man, how quickly this race turned around in the last 10 minutes or so of what we saw and what we thought we were going to see. So exciting is one word that we can use. Unbelievable is another word that we can use. And just doggone leaving me wanting more is another way that we can look at it as well, because I can't wait for what Georgia is going to bring us in 1 week. And that's the thing about this Florida round. We go back-to-back weekends, and that's something that we generally don't do in GNCC racing. So we'll go 1 week in between races. We'll be back at Aonia Pass. And, of course, with that, we will get things up and going and seeing how quickly people have been able to heal, how quickly they've been able to prep their bikes and get re-prepared for another great day of racing. Our third-place finisher, once again, Cole Richardson, getting a little hairy coming into the finish line itself, but was still able to take that third-place spot. We'll head down to Mikey Waynes and talk with those two here in just a few moments to put it all into perspective, what this race day has been like. Mikey, you guys ready?
Well, we're still waiting on Cole Richardson. I'm not sure if he headed back to the pits or not, but I think that might be it, Rodney.
All right. Well, just a quick question. I don't know. Have you heard anything about Bryson? Yeah. I haven't heard anything up this end yet.
Same thing down here. A lot of
talking back and forth. Do we have Cole? Oh, we do have Cole. But yeah, to update you, we'll get Cole set up here.
All right. Well, while you do that, I did just get an update. They said they don't know what, but he broke something on the machine, from what I understand. So with that, let's head down to the specialized post-race interview with our third-place finisher, Cole Richardson.
Hey, Rodney, yeah, down here with Cole. Cole comes up to me. Dude, he's got the freshie on. He's already in Crocs. He said, I thought I got fourth, man. So you got third. So I feel like you got to think, well, if I thought I got fourth and I ended up on the box, that's not a bad day.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot more speed. We got around Hunter. He blitzed the mud hole, got around me, and ended up losing my goggles there and just taking roost all day. And I just kind of disappointed with how I rode. The second half of the race we rode really well and just kind of couldn't get around Hunter there. And, we tried to make a pass stick there at the end, clipped a little tree. I was under the impression I got fourth, but, I'll take third, not happy with it. But that's why we have Georgia next weekend.
That was going to be my next point. Yeah, podium's great, but we know what you expect out of yourself this season. So where's your mind at heading into round 3?
I want to win. That's what I feel like. I trained hard enough this winter. We had a bad race the first race. I don't consider this, that great of a day, but we're on the podium. And, even if we get a second next race, we're still off to a better start than we were last season with the 8th place in Georgia. So we still have potential of having a, better start to the season. It's not where I want to be, and, hopefully we're in the center of the box.
There you go. Cole Richardson taking third place here today in Palatka.
Well, Mikey Waynes, I'll tell you what. You want to know how dominating our XC1 class was here in this round at Palatka? We have not seen our leaders check in the XC2 Pro-Am class. Last check, it was Ben Kowalewski leading that one, Tanner Walker, Ronnie Rush, Brandon Owens, and Kenny Schick rounding out the top 5. There's your top 10 results from today's racing and officially Rocky Mountain ATV MC leaderboard. Again, Walker, Fowler, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Adam McGill, Jared McClure in 5th, Chris Borich in 6th, Wesley Wolf 7th, John Glotta in 8th, 9th, Josh Mayer, and still not checked in yet, but getting credit for 10th place at the moment, Bryson Neal in that XC1 Pro class. That's going to do it for us here at Racer TV and our ATV racing coverage. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with more live coverage of the two-wheel action. It all gets underway around 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Hope to see y'all back again tomorrow. For all of us here at Racer TV, Mikey Waynes, my co-announcer, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.